Hi, House Church kids.
Hi, House Church kids.
It's Katie and Ezra here, my sous chef, right? Today we are going to do a cooking show. So we are going to make together communion bread that in a few weeks, when your house church does communion, you can share with them. One way that you can make sure that they get to use it is we can freeze the bread afterwards, and then they can bring it out on the day that they have communion. So let's get started. And as you go, the first thing you need to know is that the ingredients and instructions will also be in the description of this video, so you can print them if that is helpful to you. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to make it so that you can pause at every direction and get it done as you go and watch the video, just like a cooking show. So, you ready to get started? Let's do it. Okay. So this is actually called communion bread in a bag. So, to make communion bread in a bag, you can stand here, Ezra.
And I want to sit here.
To make communion bread in a bag, you're going to need flour, sugar, salt, olive oil, and some warm water. So,
Can I hold it?
oh, you're also going to need, we're going to be making 2 mini loaves. That way, one of them we can enjoy now, one of them we can freeze later. And we have a lot of kids in our house church, so that way they can help more and take turns helping and make their own loaves together. You're also going to need rapid rise instant yeast. Now, if you don't have any of these things at your house right now, one thing you could do is go knock on the door of a neighbor or call a neighbor if you're more comfortable doing it that way. It's a really good way to get to know your neighbors and let them know that you're there and that you care. It's just by asking them if they have an ingredient you can use. So consider doing that. Otherwise, do this when you have everything, okay? All right, you ready, Ezra? The other thing, most important thing you need for bread in a bag is, what's this, Ezra?
A bag.
A bag. So a gallon-sized bag. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna put in is 1 cup of flour.
Hold the flour.
Yep, and go ahead and in a resealable bag, place 1 cup of flour. So we have a 1/2 cup here, so we're gonna fill it up twice. It's just a little easier for Ezra's smaller hands. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a little easier for my small hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have 1 cup of flour in there. Then we add the sugar. We need 3 tablespoons of sugar. Here's the sugar.
Here's the 3 tablespoons.
Yeah, can you find which one is a tablespoon, Ezra?
What?
Can you find which one is the tablespoon? It's the biggest one. Which one is biggest? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. If you have older kids, let them do anything they're comfortable doing. It's okay if it's not perfect. Right, Ezra?
Mm-hmm.
There's 1 tablespoon. Okay, fill the next one up nice and full. Oh, this biggest one.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Go ahead. 2. It's okay if you spill a little. We'll clean it up. 1 more.
Can I do it with the little spoon?
Actually, we're going to use the tablespoon, okay? You want me to do the last one?
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
But with the little spoon.
Nope, we need a tablespoon, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And 3. That's going to be the last one. Right in the bag. 3. Woohoo! Flour. Keep the flour on hand. You're going to need more flour later. I'm going to set the sugar aside though.
But I just did it off.
It's okay if you make a mess. We'll clean it up after, right?
Yeah.
We will. Here, I'll do a little preliminary cleanup here. Okay, don't move. Now Now, we have our bag with our flour and our sugar. 1 cup of flour, 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now, 1.25 package of instant yeast.
Is it poisonous?
No, it's food. So,
Can I put it in the bag?
yeah, so basically you're going to need 2 1/4 tablespoons of instant yeast. Rapid rise instant yeast in there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this away. And now we have 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of flour, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and our 2 1/4 teaspoons of packaged rapid rise yeast. Okay, the next thing you're gonna add is 1 whole cup of
Water.
That's right, warm water, and it needs to be between 110 degrees and 120 degrees. So our water, I put it in a kettle and made sure it was just about that temperature. And I'm going to pour it in my 1/2 cup, so.
Can I do this?
You can pour it in the bag, okay?
By
Hold
myself?
on. Actually, can you just open the bag up for me? I don't want you to get burned. Ready? Hold it open for me. There's that. So 1 whole cup, which means we need 1 more cup. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the air out of the bag. So someone can help you do this. Just make sure you don't spill while you're doing it. Here, help me hold it. Yeah, squeeze the air out of the bag. Make sure it's sealed very tight. Ooh, that feels good. And you're going to go ahead, everybody take a turn squeezing it to mix it. Mix, mix. Nice and mixed up. We are going to
Mix with this.
Nope, we're not even gonna need that because we're gonna do all our mixing right here in this bag. So we're going to set this down.
Well,
And we're going to have-
When are we going to use this?
I'll let you know later, not yet. We're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And we're gonna have a 10-minute dance party. You ready, Ezra? Welcome back. We only have 1 minute left on our 10-minute timer, so we are gonna just get started on the next thing. So when our timer goes off, we're going to add, oh, it also says that bubbles will form on your bread bag. And do you see the bubbles in there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's show the camera. Here's our bubbles. Everybody take a second to look at the bubbles that are forming in the yeast and flour and sugar. Okay, now we're going to open our bag. We're gonna add 1 cup of flour. Say 1 cup of flour.
1 cup of flour.
Some oil, 3 tablespoons of oil.
I'm sous chef, right?
Yes, you are. And, oh, there's our timer. Alexa, stop my timer. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So go ahead and take turns with everything.
Okay.
Here's a
I
1/2
didn't
cup.
know that.
Go ahead, throw it in. Ooh.
But can I do this last one on my hand?
Okay. And another 1/2 cup makes 1 cup. So 1 cup of flour.
So by myself.
Okay. That was very careful of you. Good job. Okay, so 1 cup of flour there. Our oil, so 3 tablespoons of oil. I'd love a turn, so I'm gonna do the oil, okay? Can you count for me? 1, 2, 3. So that was my 3 tablespoons of oil. Set that aside. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt.
Can I touch the bag?
Yeah, you can touch the bag. But be careful, don't just spill it.
Can I squeeze some air out of it?
Okay, in a second. Ready? 1, can you say 1? Or you want to do that? Go ahead.
Let me go.
Go ahead. 1.
Can I do,
And,
can I do this one by myself?
yes, honey.
Thanks.
And 1/2 teaspoons of salt. Go ahead.
I'm just going to go.
Good job, Ezra. Okay. So now that we put in another cup of flour, oil and salt, we're going to seal the bag again. Okay.
Seal that bag?
Yep, close the bag up really well. You don't want it all to come out of there. And we're going to squish it until it's all well blended. Okay, good job squishing. Now we're actually going to add 1 last cup of flour, right, Ezra? And mix it again. Here's our bag. We're gonna add, remember, I'm using 1/2 cup, and that's why I put 2
Can I
in.
feel it?
It's actually just 1 cup of flour each time. Here, do you want to put this in?
Yeah.
You'll feel the dough in a second. Okay, there's my 1/2 cup. And 1 more mixed 1 cup. We're not gonna mix with that. Here, ready?
Okay.
Ready? Put this in. And we're gonna go ahead and mix again. And put some flour down on our surface. Okay, welcome back. At the end of that 5 or 10 minutes, you should have 2 beautiful lumps of dough. And they might look a little different from ours because the bread we're making today is gluten-free because we have someone in our house church that needs gluten-free. So we thought of them. So our dough looks a little, it's our daddy. Ours looks a little bit different. So now I'm going to spray my 2 loaf pans with a little bit of olive oil, or you can grease it with butter or whatever you like. And I'm going to put in our 2 little dough loaves. And now you're going to cover those 2 pieces of dough with a towel for 30 minutes. So let me grab you're gonna take your beautiful risen dough and put it in your oven at 375 for 25 to 30 minutes. Now, as I said, my gluten-free dough looks a little different, and really you should probably use a different recipe if you're gonna do gluten-free. But you get the general idea. So put it in for 25 to 30 minutes or until the bread is golden brown on top, and go. When your bread's all done, if you've used a foil pack like mine, you can go ahead and freeze it in that with a lid, or you can put your bread in a Ziploc bag and squeeze out all the air and store it in the freezer that way. That way, your house church can use it for communion in a few weeks, and they'll all know that you work together to bake the communion bread that they're partaking in on that day. Have fun.